Good evening, Rams, and welcome back to the second Laced Up show of this semester. Laced Up is a sports show run entirely by women, but it's for everyone. I'm your host, Ruby Kaiser.
And I'm your co-host, Madeline Davis. And yet again, we have a packed show for you all tonight. From an inside scoop into how March Madness operates behind the scenes, to how cheerleading helps shape the lives of 4 CSU athletes.
Oh, and we'll also have an exclusive interview with Olympic athlete Lauren Gale that you won't want to miss.
All that and more on Laced Up, which is going right now.
To kick things off tonight, let's fill you in on how CSU football is making women's history at the college level. Hope Nepstad is the first female strength and speed assistant coach in NCAA and D1 history. And she works right here for the CSU Rams. Nepstad is a brand new addition to this new regime for Ram football, and was of course brought in by none other than the CSU's new head man, Jay Norvell. Thanks to their connection back into Nevada, where she caught his eye back in her first year of college as an intern for the Wolfpack Athletic Department. And at only 22 years old, Nepstad's promotion up the ranks in the CFB shows off one of the most important steps to date when it comes to reaching gender equality within the sports industry. And she said this about her impact of the new role. We work together. We uplift each other. We're encouraging. It's just a very positive work environment. If we can do all that on a larger scale, the impact it could have would be incredible. With a brand new coaching staff already making history and changing up the culture here on campus, this upcoming CSU football season is already looking a lot more promising than last year.
And sticking with some more news on the gridiron, these brand new football coaches also conducted their first practice of spring ball on Tuesday. The green and gold headed out to the practice field right next to Canvas Stadium, and this was only the first of 15 of these off-season tune-ups, which are designed to get the Rams back into the basics and familiar with the brand new air raid scheme that Coach Norvell and his staff bring in from Reno. Additionally, these 2-hour morning practices attempt to build off of all the hard work these guys have done throughout their winter conditioning, and continue pushing this Rams squad to be the best they possibly can be. Oh, and this squad is also using this time to form new rituals and increase their team chemistry, like touching a sign that states, "We play the Ram way," every time they walk into Canvas Stadium, and many, many more. And with all of these changes, and this new and improved football squad is operating very differently compared to years past, according to head coach Jay Norvell. You just have to really be focused on what we're doing. It's all about repetition and fundamentals, and today was a good start. With all of that in mind, it's safe to say that Tuesday morning finally kicked off a brand new era for Rams football.
On to the pool now for the CSU women's swim and dive team. They ended their season off with a splash last month, where they took home 5th place in the Mountain West Championships after an undefeated season. Yes, you heard me right, a perfect season, going an amazing 14-0 up until their final meet in College Station, Texas for the Mountain West Finals. And it wasn't only as a team where the squad made waves, but also in its individual performers as well, breaking not just 1, but 2 CSU records throughout the year. Thanks to brand new bests in the 400 and 800-yard freestyle team relays, while at the same time placing 3rd overall in the 400 with a time of 3 minutes and 21 seconds to close things down out in Texas. Overall, the Rams ended their 4-day run at the event with an overall total of 760 points, making it the 3rd time now that the Rams have placed 5th at the Mountain West tournament. At the end of the day, even though they missed out on the first and the final meet of the season, this winter will still be the best season that CSU has had in 21 years. The fact that the green and gold were undefeated up until the championship really just is the icing on the cake.
Undefeated?
I know, it's crazy. I remember reading that somewhere and I was like, 14-0?
Oh, I know. That's crazy. Like, why don't we talk about them more? Like,
I know. Seriously, that's the point. We're talking about them now.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what Laced Up is for. And switching things up from the sea and onto some land, the CSU women's track and field team continues to prove that they are, well, a major force to be reckoned with. shown through senior Lexi Keller recently earning the Mountain Region's Women's Field Athlete of the Year at the NCAA D1 Indoor Awards. And to be honest, us here at Laced Up aren't surprised at this recognition at all. Keller has been dominating her competition all season and continuing to prove that she is one of the best in the college game. Placing third in the women's pentathlon for the NCAA championships earlier this month, while also shattering 4 CSU records in the process. So let's set the scene. There are 16 athletes at the D1 finals, and Keller comes in as the 15th seed. She then goes out and gets first in shot put, third in long jump, 6th in the 60-meter hurdles and in the 800-meter, as well as 8th in the high jump. Oh, and to end things off, also got third place overall finish for the pentathlon with a total of 4,321 points, which was the highest a CSU athlete has scored in this tournament ever. And the last time any other Ram even came close to Lexi's marks was when Katie Lloyd placed 7th all the way back in 2007. Now, is that impressive or what? And with this performance, Lexi was obviously ecstatic about how she performed, saying, "Being among those great student athletes really pushed me in my game. I wasn't worried about getting certain marks, which really helped my performance. I'm still very much shocked." And moving on to the team as a whole now, both Lexi Keller and Lauren Gale have both officially earned All-American honors for the winter season, thanks to their outstanding performances in these championship events, with Gale placing 8th in the 400-meter and in the process becoming the first CSU woman to ever compete at the 400-meter final at the national level. All in all, Colorado State University now has a total of 18 All-American honors throughout their program's history. And with how much this track team continues to defy all odds, I think it's safe to say that we are definitely looking at some more accolades in the future. And speaking of Lauren Gale, she's also in the studio with us right now, where she'll break down some of her groundbreaking performances later on in the show.
And in some more amazing news in the world of Rams athletics, CSU basketball fans can now relax a little bit. The guy that got the men's hoops all the way to Indy for March Madness for the first time in 8 years will be with the Rams for at least another 7 years to come. Yes, you heard me, 7 years. With the 48-year-old coach committing to the Rams program all the way until 2029 through a new deal struck with the school. With the stellar job he did in the past season, many other schools piqued their interest in the Rams' head man, including institutions like LSU, Georgia, and Missouri. However, as we just told you, this contract will ensure that Medved will be a Ram for a long, long time to come. And here are some details about the brand new deal. With this new contract, Medved will now be taking over $200,000 more than his previous salary, not to mention hefty bonuses if the Rams have a successful season and earn some postseason success. So with the increased commitment to their longtime coach, you're probably wondering what the team's players think about this development of their lead guy. Well, it seems like the whole squad is behind him, with CSU guard Isaiah Stevens saying that who wouldn't want him to lead their program? I'm just happy that he's still a Ram, and I'm glad that our higher-ups were able to do what they needed to do to have him stick around a little bit longer. This past year marked Medved's 4th year coaching the Green and Gold, and he surely turned this team around. Hopefully next year, Medved's leadership for the Rams can go further into March Madness than they did this season.
I mean, I just want to say that as a big CSU basketball fan, this was fantastic news.
Yeah, I think it was amazing. It seems like everyone's really behind his mission and everyone's really excited about what's to come for CSU men's basketball.
For sure. Now, swinging our way into Rams tennis, now over spring break, they continue to add to their amazing start to the spring, defeating their heated rivals, the CU Buffs, with a final score of 4-2 last week, which marks the first time ever in Rams history that the program has taken the W in the Rocky Mountain Showdown. And when you dive a bit more into exactly how they got this accomplished last Tuesday, after taking the doubles point thanks to dubs from power pairs Radka Bushkova and Matija Mahalovic and Summer Dalabana and Sarka Riktorova, the Rams looked pretty good entering the singles part of the meet. And in the end, it all came down to the last match to finally take down the Buffs, where Radka Bushkova moved up a spot to 1 singles and took on Antonia Balzert in a close 3-set match. And after a double fault on match point from Balzert, Bushkova ended up securing the dub, both individually and for her squad. And after the victory, head coach Miley Tran spoke about how big this win was for her team, saying, "They wanted to get a win for the program and make history. That's something they set out to do, and that's something we did today." This win also marks the first Power 5 win for this program since a dub over Texas Tech in 2004, showing just how much Rams tennis has been moving in the right direction recently, and how exciting they've been to watch.
And finally, here's some updates on CSU women's golf, who moved up the pack to finish 11th overall at the Clover Cup down in Arizona last Saturday. Down in Mesa, the Rams dominated some of the best teams in the country, like Notre Dame and Kansas State, but it didn't come down without some struggles, falling short to both Texas A&M and Clemson to fall down to the ranks a little bit. But even with their mistakes, as a team, many members of the squad used their green out in Arizona to show off their crazy talent, like freshman Lacey Uchida, who shot an impressive 3 over par 219 for the tournament, which also tied her for 27th place overall. Oh, and added on to this by scoring an impressive 3 under par 69 in the final round, including an eagle on the 8th hole. Not to mention that junior for CSU, Andrea Burgesdotter, interesting trip down to the Southwest. Rams head coach Laura Kliak had a lot to say, only glowing remarks to her team, saying, "This group plays hard for each other. They are eager to learn, and they represent Colorado State so well." After all of this, CSU women's golf returns to competition in just under 2 weeks when they play at the Chattanooga Classic on March 27th. We'll just have to see how they do over in Tennessee.
And with that, Rams, that's all the scores, highlights, and updates we have for you tonight. But don't go anywhere just yet, because after the break, we'll go behind the scenes of one of the biggest collegiate sporting events in the country, March Madness. So make sure you stick around.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
Oh, gee.
You all right, girl?
You cool?
You bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them.
Go on, Kelly. Seize the awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back from the break, Ram fans. This past weekend, I got the opportunity to travel out to Indianapolis to cover CSU on their journey to March Madness. Let's take a look. Hey Rams, we're here at DIA where we are just now waiting for our flight to Indianapolis to cover the Rams on their March Madness journey. Stick along with us here for everything that we have in store for you.
So, after boarding the plane to go to Indianapolis, we were sitting there for like a good probably 40 minutes, and apparently part of the plane is broken. So now we have gotten off the plane and we will get back on the plane in like an hour. So now our midnight arrival time is now around 1 o'clock in the morning.
We made it. Eventually. Finally, we made it. Woo! We are in Indianapolis. So we got our credentials. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. So now we can use these and we can go in all of the media areas. So that's really cool. And I'll take you along with me in all the media areas. So let's go. This was the media workroom. It was actually a practice gym that they turned into the media workroom. It was also where the press conferences were held. We could not video the press conferences due to NCAA rules, but they were held in that room as well. This was the media seating. It was on the 4th floor of the arena. The view was fantastic, so that was nice. This is the tunnel underneath the stadium that led you onto the court, which was where I sat when I took pictures. I couldn't video much on the court once again due to NCAA rules, but I snuck a couple videos anyway. I know. Don't tell me NCAA.
So, unfortunately, CSU did end up losing to Michigan, and it was really sad because they were playing really, really well in the first half.
The second half just slid out of our grasps and Michigan took hold.
So, I am officially finally home, and I've had a little time to kind of take everything in and think it all over, and I just want to say that this was such an incredible experience. I am so lucky and happy that I got to go to this. It definitely was very eye-opening, and it let me see a lot of things that I haven't seen before and let me do a lot of things that I haven't done before, and I'm just very overall thankful for the experience, and I really wouldn't have traded it for anything else.
Even though the Rams lost, which made me really sad, I still had a great time at the tourney. And I just can't wait to see how this team does come next season. That was so fun. It was so fun being there. It was definitely something that I found a little strange, though, was like when we were in the workroom and everything, we were some of the only women there.
Wow, that is actually not shocking, but disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely disappointing is how I would say it. I was a little disappointed with the underrepresentation of women.
Well, I'm glad you guys were there.
I'm glad that both Taylor and that me and Taylor were women.
Yeah, what a great way to spend spring break, though. And moving on, March Madness wasn't the only event that marked the end of several seniors' basketball careers here at CSU. There are 4 Ram cheerleaders who ended their athletic career just last week. Producer Lee Medley has the story.
With spring semester coming to a close at Colorado State University, there are 4 CSU cheerleaders who are getting to lay down their pom-poms one final time.
I started cheerleading back in high school. I joined my sophomore year. So I want to say I've been cheering for about 6 years now. So 3 years in high school and then 3 years in college.
So I did competitive from the time I was in elementary school up until I graduated high school. And then I also did 4 years of high school cheer as well.
I cheered for 2 years in high school. And then this is my 3rd year on the cheer team here at CSU.
I started cheering my freshman year of high school, so like 8 years now.
Ever since I joined it in high school, I always did it to kind of get out of trouble. I grew up in a very troublesome neighborhood. I mean, it's made me grow a lot as a person. It's made me mature. It's made me be really mindful of every situation. And it's just made me a better human overall.
I think it's allowed me to be a good leader on a team and outside of a team. It just showed me a lot of good values and how to be a good team player as well as a good team leader.
It's been such a big part of my life for so long that I think it helps me with everything, like time management, just being part of a team.
I've always been a really, really introverted, shy person. But for whatever reason, when I'm cheering and I'm in front of a crowd, I'm completely extroverted. It's like I'm almost like a different person because I feel like even if there's eyes on me, it's not just me, if that makes sense. Cheer really helped me get out of my comfort zone and meet new people, and also just gave me a lot of confidence in myself.
These 4 cheerleaders hope to leave behind something bigger than themselves.
I hope to leave behind just that I was a good leader and a good friend outside of cheer too, that I wasn't here just for the uniform or for the skirt, that I was here because I love the sport.
CSU is a predominantly white institution, and I want people to look at me and think that they could do the same. The legacy that I want to leave behind is that diversity is everything, and as long as you put your mind to it, there's nothing you can't do.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's exciting to see. It's amazing to see how the sport has impacted the lives of these 4 athletes. I think it's pretty cool to see all these, like, the support staff and, like, how their seasons have ended, too, not just the basketball players.
Yeah, I feel like oftentimes the cheerleaders are kind of overlooked, but they're doing stuff I could never do. They're athletes as well, and I think that they deserve just as much credit.
Yeah, exactly. And after all, it is time for the main event. Don't go anywhere just yet, Rams, because after the break, we have an exclusive interview with Olympian Lauren Gale. You won't want to miss it.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Welcome back from the break, Ram fans. I'm so excited to introduce our special guest this evening, Lauren Gale. Lauren is a former Olympic athlete and competes for the Rams track and field team. Lauren, thank you so much for sitting down with me tonight.
Of course, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you just got back from Serbia like 2 days ago, competing in the World Indoor Championships for Team Canada. Can you tell us a little what that was like?
It was super exciting. Serbia wasn't necessarily on my bucket list, but it was a great experience and got to see the new city they're building up over there. I love the team, love the coaches, love the food. It was overall just a great experience and super happy I got to go with Team Canada.
And so you guys placed 8th overall, which was a Canadian record, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Very cool. What was that like? How did that feel?
It was exciting. We had a little mess up in the handoff, so I think we could have run a little bit of a quicker time, but it was just a great group of girls, and we all ran our hardest, even though we had a little mess up, and still excited to get a Canadian record. And yeah, it's just a crazy experience. You never think that you're going to get a national record, so it was awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. So how is international competition different, and how does it help with your collegiate career?
I think it just kind of expands the competition you race against, so going and seeing all these crazy uniforms from the USA and Ireland and all these different countries, I think just kind of broadens the competition a little bit. But, you know, still great competitors in the NCAA and all around the world, so I think, yeah, it's just super cool to get to run against all these different countries with people speaking different languages, and, yeah, just a great opportunity.
Yeah. Do you recognize any athletes from like the NCAAs when you go and compete internationally?
Sometimes. One of our teammates at CSU, Tom, qualified for Team Australia, so I got to see him there. And we had a previous student, Mary Beth, who got to compete for Team USA in the 60-meter dash, so getting to see them was cool and kind of relating to the college experience a little bit from CSU, and I know a lot of Team USA has insane athletes in the NCAA that get to compete as well at the World Indoor Championships. So a lot of collegiate athletes for sure, and then a few from CSU, which was cool to see.
That's pretty cool. How did the other Rams do in the competition? Do you remember?
Tom ran really well. It's really hard to do the 400 when you have to merge in your lane and you have like 6 people running at one race at one time. And he did really well, and then Mary Beth came 3rd overall and medaled.
Wow.
Got to go to the podium, and it was just a great experience to go watch her, so it was really cool.
Very cool. So your team also just won the Indoor Conference Championships. So what are your expectations for the team going into outdoor season right now, like as a leader? Like what are you guys expecting?
To do the same outdoor. I hope to continue the trend outdoor. We have our first meet this weekend in Pueblo, so I think it'll kind of start to predict how our season's going to go, but we have fantastic athletes on the team that are just going to compete their hearts out, and I think we'll try to go for the banner and try to get a ring again for outdoor.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see how you guys end up doing. So this will be your last track season at CSU. What legacy do you wish to leave behind?
I wish to leave a legacy on the track for sure. Hoping to keep my name on the record boards for a little bit longer. But I think just overall, just daily interactions with people. I hope to leave smiles on people's faces and kind of brighten people's days on the daily. So I think that's what I would like to leave behind, is knowing that I made my teammates happy and coaches happy. So yeah.
That's a great goal. I think that they would say that about you. So thank you. So what was it like to go to the Olympics last summer? You were just a junior in college. Like, that's pretty crazy. Like, what was that like?
It was unreal. It was just such a crazy experience. I knew the Olympics going was going to be just unreal, but walking into the stadium and seeing like the empty stands since it was COVID, but just walking in, it's the biggest stadium I've ever been to. They had just an insane amount of dining hall options. The team was great. We got to keep the Tokyo comforters. It was just overall just such a great experience. And even with COVID protocols and kind of isolation and little dividers at lunch and everything, it was a unique Olympics, I would have to say, but overall it was just awesome.
Did you sleep on the cardboard bed? I know that was kind of controversial on social media. Was it comfy? Do you have a take on that?
It was cardboard. It was a little sketchy when you jumped on it and you were like, oh my gosh, is this going to fall under me? But luckily the mattress was decent and you could adjust the mattress pad, which was nice. So it had like softer and harder levels, which was good. So it wasn't too bad, but it was a little scary when you would sit on it and it would kind of start to cave in. You're like, no, okay. But it wasn't bad.
I know this is kind of far in advance, but do you plan on competing in the 2024 Olympics?
As of right now, I think so. I think it's a lot closer than most of the Olympics since we had a delayed year. And I wish to experience the Olympics openly without COVID protocols. And a lot of my teammates that went to Tokyo and Rio, the other Olympic event, said it was a lot different going to Tokyo. Just because of COVID and protocols and everything. So hopefully I can go back in 2024 in Paris and see the real thing and experience it a little differently that time. So I think definitely for sure.
Yeah, hopefully all the COVID craziness will have died down by then. So you just placed 8th in the indoor national championships. How did it feel to stand on the podium at nationals for the very first time?
I was a little frustrated with my race because it's indoor season and we all run in the same lane and people throw elbows and get cut off and everything. But I was still happy to be up there and represent CSU and be the first Ram to go for the 400 meter. So it was definitely a cool experience. And happy I got a little trophy that I get to put in my room now. Yeah. And to be considered an All-American is definitely a big title. So super happy with that as well.
Yeah, that's insane. And it seems like you've been really busy the last couple months. Like, how do you keep up with being a normal student, too?
It's kind of hard, but luckily most of my classes are online, so I just kind of take it to go with me wherever the competition is. Luckily, my teachers are super flexible as well, and I have an internship at the moment, too, and she lets me do stuff online and kind of work in extra hours as well. So it's been busy for sure, but I wouldn't want to have a dull day, so I'm glad my schedule is busy for sure.
Oh, wow. What's your internship look like?
I work at the Fort Collins Senior Center, and it's like a rec center for seniors, and we get to do special events, so we plan trips and stuff like that and do a lot of paperwork in the back that kind of helps keep the facilities going, so it's a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay, so you're a Team Canada Olympian, and now you're a United States All-American. What does it mean to represent both of those countries at such a high level?
We started joking that I'm a North American, all North American, just covering the two countries. But I think it's super cool and just super exciting to be a Ram and represent my hometown as well.
That's great, Lauren. That's all we have for Lauren tonight. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Rams. And let's make sure you tune in tomorrow night for Thursday Night Newscast. Have a good night, Rams.